Hello everybody, welcome to Adams Polish's Wednesday live video. I can't remember who requested it last week, but we got a request, and inside that request they mentioned waterless wash and foam and wash, so I was like, I don't know, if we do requests we should definitely follow through. So I picked the dirtiest car I could find in our lot. Not necessarily, forget about the cracks in the windshield, but what I want you to see is how dirty this is. So this, I think, is a great subject to see really like how filthy a car can be, and still not need a pressure washer or not need a hose. Now, I will preface this by saying, and by the way, the car's not bleeding out. I quickly cleaned the wheels on both sides just to do it really quick. So our wheel cleaner, the reaction of the thioglycolates just like looks like something happened to the car. So trust me, there's nothing wrong with the car.
There's no body on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Now I will say, like, if you like today, okay, it's almost like 60 degrees out. Is that what it says on your watch, Chris?
Yeah, 58.
Yeah, 58. So like on a day like today, I would definitely wash my car with a pressure washer. I think this is more of a situation where, like, you want to be inside, you don't have a drain inside, kind of like even like a winter washing process. And the other thing to consider here is your water usage. Okay, like pretty much today I'll be using roughly 4.5 gallons of water maybe, and I can like again use that later. So like your water usage goes way down, and generally when you wash a car at 2 GPM on a pressure washer, you probably use about 40 gallons of water. So you're a tenth of the usage of your water. So like keep this into consideration, because if you're in a water restricted area or you want to cut down your water usage, this is actually a really great process. Also, if you're a mobile detailer and you're going out and you don't want a big tank like Chris is standing next to on the back of a truck, where you're pressure washing cars in parking spots and you want to just do it in a different way, this is also another great process. Also, road trips. So if you want to keep your car clean during a road trip and you don't want to hit a self-serve car wash and spend the money to do that, you can bring some of these products with you to actually perform this wash. So
Did you say apartments already?
yeah, apartments. No, I didn't, but apartments, condos, yeah, just any time that you don't like have a washing setup, or you're not out in your driveway washing your car or whatever. Like, but again, like for us right now in Colorado, like I'm not breaking out my pressure washer as often, because I can't, because if I do, listen, on Saturday here, it's supposed to snow. Who knows how much, 5-6 inches. Again, it's not like time for me to wash my car outside. Granted, there are some anomaly days, rare days that you get where it's like, oh wow, yeah, let's like get out and wash. But I'm like, all my stuff's put away. I don't want to like bring it all out and then have to put it away again. So one point I do want to say, well, another thing I want to say is, I can't remember who requested this, but thank you for requesting it. Anytime you guys request topics, it really helps us, it helps us be able to explain things that you guys want to hear about. I'm picking topics I think might help, but if I get the feedback directly from everyone watching the live, it makes it so much more beneficial to our whole community as far as detailing enthusiasts, because oftentimes you might be confused on a product, or oftentimes you might get a product in a mystery box or mystery bucket and you're like, I don't know what the heck that is. Well, guess what? If you request it and say, hey Joe, I don't know what foam and wash is, I might be able to explain it, but if it requires a bigger process explanation, then I can do that on the live. So please, anytime that you have suggestions, do not hesitate to put it in the comments.
Tony Taylor says, ironically, I just cleaned my boat and my father's boat with waterless wash in winter storage.
Oh, well, there you go, Tony. Yeah, waterless wash is a really great product if you own a boat. I would say like waterless wash, even CS3 is a great product. But yeah, I know like my buddy Justin, he has a boat and they mainly keep it stored at Boulder Reservoir. and he has to take his boat out it's not like a big reservoir, so he has to take it out of the water every single time. And if you don't, the minerals inside of the water from the reservoir, I mean, it creates water spots and it can really do damage to that gel coat. So he has to wipe it down every time. So, when we do go out to the boat with them and hang out, I definitely like help him wipe it down with like Waterless Wash and CS3, but I'm constantly like giving him the stuff because it just works so great. I think before he was using like Windex, which is fun. The good thing is he's taking care of his boat, but I think the lubricity and the surfactants inside a Waterless Wash really like break down some of those minerals when you initially get it out of the water. Maybe not if there's existing water spots, but anyways.
Anton asked if we're planning an updated rinseless soon. So
Okay, that's actually, Anton, that is a really, really good question, because I think that there was so much confusion when we got rid of rinseless. And I'll just fill you in a little secret. Hoseless wash is the update to the rinseless. Okay, so we'll talk about that here in a second. It's a very similar process. I don't know why they wanted to switch the name. I think it's just somebody who's like, I think we should switch it because it makes more sense. And then it became confusing. So hopefully this can like bring some clarity to that. So, all right. So before I start getting into this, I just want to show you, I have 3 different products here. Okay. I have, I have multiple amounts of products, both like accessories, but also I'm really only using 3. And actually I have 3 chemicals out here, but I'm only going to use 2. I'm going to show you guys. Actually, I'll use 3 because I want to make sure that we touch on just waterless wash as you have it at your place. But I'm also going to talk about, hoseless wash, foam and wash, and I'm going to show you how I like to use it, which I like to use them together. But first things first, what I want to do is show you that I have a IK Foam Pro 2. So this is the one that like when you put product in here, it creates foaming properties out of it, or creates a nice thick foam out of here, and it's a pump sprayer. I also have an IK Multi TR1 just like trigger sprayer. And yeah, so I'm going to use some of these things. I have a bunch of towels in the middle too. And there's a reason why I have borderless gray, and there's a reason why I have double soft. I have the double soft has a silver edge around it, and they're essentially like 2-ply of a single soft like you would use to remove polish and compound, or even like help remove ceramic coating. So first things first, what I want to touch on is waterless wash just by itself as its product. Okay, waterless wash is designed to go with these purple waterless washing waffle weave towels. And the way you do this process is I like to use, you generally need 2 towels. And I'll say this, waterless wash is probably the #1 product we're using at Barrett-Jackson when our detailers are there behind the scenes, because when you wipe cars down and they're dusty, even a little bit dirty, waterless wash generates the most lubricity as far as like a spray and wipe product. And it's the safest way to wipe down cars with like the most minimal amount of scratching essentially. So waterless wash is that way. And I would say, like, you can see the side of this car, it's like so dirty, but when you look kind of in here, it's not as caked on, right? Like you can see a lot of dirt and grime. This is enough where you can use waterless wash. Okay, like again, I think preface this is like the best way to do this is to do a 2-bucket wash. It's like reduce the scratches the most. But if you just only have waterless wash, or like you live in, I know a lot of people in Arizona use waterless wash because they don't get this. They don't get snowstorms that the stuff sticks on the side of their car. So I'll just show you right now, like with waterless wash, you want to use a decent amount of it, but there's sort of a process to this. So I like to take 1 waterless wash towel, okay, unfold it all the way like so, and then fold it long ways, corner to corner, like that, okay? Do the same thing, long ways, corner to corner. So that's 2 folds, and then long ways, corner to corner, 3 times you fold it. And it creates like this size of a towel. It's about the size of your hand, if you can see that. And what we're gonna do is manage each one of these sides, okay? And it's really cool like how we do this. So take the waterless wash, and you're gonna, so if I do a mist, you can see that there's still some dry portions on there. I want to get a lot of this on here because I want to maximize the amount of lubricity that I'm using. Now I take the waffle weave towel. I'm going to start up here, and as I wipe, I'm going to kind of roll my hand a little bit. So I start here, and as I wipe, I roll my hand to the very end of my wipe. Do the same thing again. Roll to the end of my wipe. Roll to the, and all I'm doing is every time I do that, I look at my towel. Okay, so you can see like it's very dirty up in here. If you can see that.
Yep.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to flip this over because I'm using more pressure in my fingers, so it's a little bit more clean here. So same thing. Liberally spray it on. As I wipe, I roll. You can see now this side of the towel is pretty well dirty. Okay. If I keep using this side of the towel, I'm just going to move this dirt around on the surface. So what I'll do is I will flip this over to a fresh side. Okay. Spray more on here, like so. Again, wipe and roll.
Bob Dunlap says, is waterless wash better than graphene CS3?
Is waterless wash better than graphene CS3? It depends, Bob. And the reason why I say it depends is because like if you're doing this inside out of the direct sunlight, like I'm doing this in direct sunlight when it's 60 degrees. So anytime I'm using like a spray and wipe product that has protection in it in the direct sunlight, the protection is going to dry on the surface immediately, and then it's like really hard to use. It gets streaky because the protection agents are kind of on there. Not whereas waterless wash doesn't have any protection agent, so using it in direct sunlight or on a hot day, standard waterless wash is better. And you know, if you're inside and it's a more mild day and it's cooler, you have like a temperature control garage, graphene CS3 is fine, or even regular CS3, because they both have the waterless wash properties in it as far as lubricity. But just remember that anytime you add protection agents to products like this, if it dries, it gets streaky. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, I mean, at Barrett-Jackson, you could probably get away with using graphene CS3, but waterless wash is a little bit cheaper and we have more of it. So that's why they use that. But they also don't need to protect those cars that are sitting inside all the time that are collector vehicles, you know? So I'd say like graphene CS3 and regular CS3, I think, are more designed for doing waterless washing on a mild temperature day, not in the direct sunlight, on a ceramic coated vehicle, because it has the silica and or silica plus reduced graphene oxide that is going to help support the graphene ceramic coating that's on your car, regular ceramic coating, but you're using the waterless washing properties and lubricity to get the dust and dirt off. So I would say CS3 for me is not, I wouldn't use it on this dirty of a car. Okay. I would use it like on the Aston Martin that's sitting in our showroom that gets dust on it, because you don't have to use as much and go over it as many times. So, you know, that's kind of like how I do it. And then like CS3 or graphene CS3, oftentimes if I want to boost the ceramic coating, I will have washed the car, and if it's coated, then I'll just go around and touch it up with like CS3 or graphene CS3 just to boost the water beading effect, but also be able to use it and finish getting like maybe areas I missed, you know. So
Can you use detail spray instead of waterless wash?
you can use detail spray instead of waterless wash, but detail spray just doesn't have that extra lubricity that waterless wash has. Okay. I just want to show you. So both of these sides of the towel are like wasted. Like I think in the shade, you can actually see it better. You can see all the dirt on that. So what I do once these sides are wasted, then I take it and I fold it onto itself like this. Okay. And now I can keep going. Okay. And cleaning. But usually what I do is, because I'm going through the act of removing the dirt, I'm not trying to finish this perfect. So once I get a bunch of dirt off like a certain section, then I take this and now I use it almost like detail spray, where I only sprayed it 3 times now. And now I can take this fresh side of the towel and even off all the streaks that I created from the waterless washing thing to even it out and make it look nice. And you can see I just wiped the area I removed the dirt from, and it's not dirty at all. So utilizing this towel as, you know, Now watch. Now when I do this, okay, now when I'm gonna remove the dirt from this, I'm gonna spray a lot more. Probably like 15 sprays. I'll take this side, wipe and roll, wipe and roll, wipe and roll. Do a little bit more actually. Wipe and roll, wipe and roll, wipe and roll. Okay, so now you can see how dirty this towel is. Flip it over to a fresh side like that. And this area, I don't know if you can see this, Chris, it's like a little streaky.
Yeah.
Now, just 1-2 sprays to get the mist. And then on the fresh side, I'll just use this like it's detail spray, wipe it off. And now the streaks aren't there and it's clean. And you can see this side of the towel is where I removed all the dirt into the towel. And this is like I evened it off, but there's no dirt on this side anymore. So now I take this side that I even this side off, okay, to reduce scratching. And then I use this to remove the dirt now. So you want to get the maximum amount of uses out of each panel of the towel that you folded. Like, so now this side that I just used to finish is filthy, right? So now I know that this side and this side are dirty. I know that this side and this side are dirty. So now I fold it back this way. And now I'm back to having fresh panels. So now just a couple sprays, long, fast swipes, which makes the product finish better, like that. And you can see no dirt again on this side. So on a car that's about that dirty, granted the sides of these is just way too dirty, I would just keep going and doing that along the whole way. And then once my towel is wasted, then I switch to a new towel. But check this out. You can really see, this really like paints a picture here. Like this half of the towel is perfectly clean and this half of the towel is all dirty. Can you see that on camera?
Yeah. Marco says, does waterless wash remove fresh bug guts or dirt droppings? For example, cleaning my car while on a road trip.
Yeah, that's actually a good question, Marco. And yeah, I would say like when you're dealing with bugs, like dealing with bugs is like, you know, essentially what happens is the bugs, you murder a lot of bugs while you're driving, okay? They stick to the surface, but then they dry out. So like if a bug hit your car standing still and you could like wipe it off immediately, it would come off instantly because there's still like some moisture to it, okay? But because you're driving, you're hitting bugs and then they dry out really fast because of the wind and the heat and all this stuff, right? So then when you get to your next location, you just have dry bug guts all over your car. So the easiest way, the best way to do it, like if you want your car to be clean before you start your road trip, but I guess think about it like this too. When you go on a road trip, oftentimes you go from like one city to another and then you leave the next day and you leave the next day. But most of the time you're driving from, let's say that I'm going to Moab. I'm driving from here, I make it to Moab, which is about a 6-hour drive. When I get there, I'm gonna stay there and hang out and I'm gonna use my car to go, well, granted it's gonna get dusty in Moab, but like if I'm just driving through town, I want a clean car. So when I get to the parking lot, what I'll do, Marco, is the first thing I'll do is I will switch my sprayer from spray pattern to stream pattern like that. And I'll just stand here a little bit further away and I'll soak the bug guts on all the areas of the front of the car like this. And then I also do it on the mirror here. Hit it like that. And I do the other mirror. And then what I do, Marco, is exactly what I just showed you on waterless washing. Then I'll start here, waterless washing. I'll make my way around the car. And then by the time I get back to this mirror, and by the time I get back to the front of the car, the bug guts have broken down from the power of the waterless wash. And then I have also changed it to spray as I go do the waterless washing. Then I just take the spray again and I do like I'm waterless washing and the bugs will come off instantly, like not even a question. But really it's just a process change. Instead of just diving into waterless washing your whole car, you pre-treat where the bugs are at on your car, then do your waterless washing process on the rest of the thing. Then when you make it back to where the bug guts are, same thing, just continue your waterless washing process and they'll come off.
Nathan says, why not use bug remover first, let it sit, then use waterless wash over the top of it?
The reason why, Nathan, you don't use bug remover, the bug remover before you use waterless wash is because bug remover is designed for the washing process. Like when you're using a pressure washer and you're using your mitt and car soap and everything, bug remover is just a very strong chemical. It's like almost like a strip wash type of product. And in the case of doing waterless wash to remove bug guts, you're essentially allowing the waterless wash to dry on the surface. You do not want bug remover to dry on the surface, okay? I'm not saying it absolutely will, but it can cause damage because it's a little bit stronger of a product. And so if you use bug remover before waterless washing, it's gonna dry and then you get into more different problems, right? So bug remover, what you do is you rinse the car first with your pressure washer, and when your car is all wet, you do exactly what I said. You pre-treat with bug remover, okay? Mirror, front of the car, mirror, and then maybe the windshield. And then once you've pre-treated it, now you take your foam cannon and you foam straight over the top of that. So like now the foam is like sort of protecting it from the bug remover like getting too dry. And then you wash your car, and as you go over those areas you pre-treated with the bug remover, the bugs come flying off. So it's just a manner of like not letting bug remover dry on the surface completely. Where, like what, is it Marco that was asking about? Like what Marco's doing is like you're on a road trip, and when you get to the next place, generally when you're on a road trip, you're not. I don't know, maybe some people will, but you're not like trying to drive to cold areas. And if you are, you're not going to wash your car probably. Like if you're driving to Breckenridge to go skiing, right? Generally a road trip, you're like in areas that are nice. Like you're driving to, like again, Moab's like nice in the spring, it's 80 degrees there. So if you're doing it and you're doing it in the direct sun and everything, waterless wash is way more safe than doing bug remover, you know? But if you have the ability to use bug remover while washing your car, like even better. It's just like a little bit easier, I would say, you know. And bug remover is designed so like once you get to that portion where you pre-treat it, you foam over it, and then you wash it, you don't have to push at all. You don't have to scrub, zero, when you're using bug remover. And anytime you're scrubbing, you're scratching. So, you know, anytime you're trying to push really hard to like scrub off bugs, then it's going to leave a little marring mark on that area in which you don't want. So the less effort you need to put into the bug removing portion, the better your finish is going to look over time, you know. So I hope that was a good enough answer. See, there's a bug gut on here that probably been on here for many years, and I pre-treated it. I sprayed one spray on here and I wiped it off with this towel, and there's no more bug guts on there. So just like, so you can tell it works on a car that's never been touched. So, okay. So waterless wash, there's my explanation for waterless wash. I hope that helped you guys. I mean, I think when you think about it in that process, it's like even better because now you can really manage like how you go around the whole car, all right? Now, waterless wash comes pre-diluted. Okay, it's an RTU product. So if you have this, if you have it in a, got it in a mystery box or whatever, use it as I just showed you. Okay, but when you get into this hoseless wash and foam and wash process, don't even take this out of your cabinet. There's no reason to even have it with you because, well, let me just say this. If you have an empty bottle, like I have this empty IK sprayer, leave this in your cabinet, okay? Because what I can do is I can take this, okay? And I have clean water here, about 4 gallons of clean water here. I'm gonna take this and I'm going to fill this up with clean water. Now, I think a lot of, if you watch online, if you watch like some pro detailers, they're going to say you need to use DI water. That's not true, okay? Because hoseless wash and waterless wash neutralize the water, okay? So they're gonna eliminate the minerals that are like in the water. So it doesn't matter what water you use. My suggestion is generally when you're if you're doing this in a cold area, put hot water in this bucket If you're doing it in Arizona or California, it doesn't matter. Your hands aren't going to get freezing. Okay, so I didn't do hot water because it's like a nice day today, but yeah, that's my suggestion. Is doesn't matter if it's DI water or not. It's not going to affect the effectiveness of this product. So essentially, what I did is I fill this up. I'm actually going to dump out a little bit more. I want to get it to this 20 mark. This is at 28 right now, so just a little bit more like that. That's better. And then I'll take the Hoseless wash product here. And listen, I am not a stickler on being exact on your measurements. And I think Adam's the same way. As picky as I am about cleaning cars, this is like one thing I'm fine to not be picky about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some of the product in here. This is Hoseless wash, not Waterless wash. I'm going to pour it so it comes up. Use maybe 6 or 7 ounces of this. And perfect. Okay. Then I'll put the sprayer on. Like so.
Do you have to use the waffle weave towels, or can you use other microfiber towels?
You can use other towels, but I'll be honest, the waffle weave towels are better. They're designed to pull dirt off of the surface. So when you start using more of the when you start using like the plush towels, granted, I do like the plush towels, but I don't like to get those super contaminated with dirt and grime, because oftentimes I'm using them to remove polish and compound. So if I have any residual extra dirt and grime or just like rattiness to those towels, then if I, just not even looking, grab one and start wiping off compound or polish after I've done the whole machine polishing process and it scratches, I just am so pissed at myself. So like, I like to keep my towels together. And look, here's one thing. You can create bends and label them with a label maker and all this stuff. More power to you. But if I can just know a waffle weave purple towel goes with Waterless wash, it just makes my life so much easier. I want to reduce the amount of friction that's in my process, so it makes it easier, and then I want to do it. So I've been using the waffle weave Waterless wash towels for so long. Another thing I will tell you too is if you don't want to use the waffle weave towel to finish, so like use the waffle weave towel to get the dirt off, then use a plush towel to finish it off like I was using earlier. But to me, it finishes the same, so I don't really care anyways. But I know there's times where like if you need to do a really high quality Waterless wash, like I've done this before on photo shoots where like I gotta make sure the car looks perfect and shiny. I will have the car on location. Like I did a photo shoot at Red Rocks one time, Red Rocks, Colorado here, where they have like concerts and it's just like beautiful. I mean, huge red rocks, just incredible. And I got the car in its place and it was like all dusty and dirty. Not dirty like this, but dirty enough to do a Waterless wash. And what I did is I took this waffle weave towel and I got all the dirt off the whole car. I didn't worry about finishing it. I didn't care if it was streaky or not. And then what I did after that is I applied Brilliant Glaze. I took the gray microfiber applicator, Brilliant Glaze, and I went over all the painted surfaces, all the chrome surfaces, and all the glass with Brilliant Glaze. And then I wiped it off with the double soft towel, and the car looked amazing because I used the power of Waterless wash to get the dirt off, and I used the power of Brilliant Glaze to hide imperfections to make it look super shiny. So just think about Waterless wash as a tool. Like if you want to do, let's say that you want to boost a graphene ceramic coating and you're in weather like this where it's direct sunlight, use Waterless wash to get the dirt off, okay? Then come back with graphene detail spray and boost it after and leave the Waterless wash streaky on the surface, So just like think about it as a tool to Waterless wash to mainly like take dirt that's on the car and then like take it off into the towel, right? Again, you can still use Waterless wash to finish nice, but it's not the only product you have to use to finish, okay? So just understand that Waterless wash was designed to get dirt off of the car, but they also have formulas in there that allow you to spray and wipe it and finish it. Another thing I've seen people do, and I think it's definitely like a personal preference thing, but some people use Waterless wash as a clay bar or a clay lube, not a clay bar, a clay lube. And I think it works good. My only thing about clay is that if you use something that has too much lubricity, the clay just glides on the surface and it's not as effective. Okay. Same thing as if you're using a different product for a clay lube and you use too much of the product, it doesn't allow the clay to like really do a lot of the work. So I tend to stick to detail spray because the little bit of silicone in detail spray allows the clay to glide, but it's like not so much that it's ineffective. Okay, so you can use waterless wash. I just feel like I tend to go over the surface more times with my clay. And the more times I go over the surface, the more times I scrub and touch my car with clay, it mars the surface. And I don't want that because I don't want to create more work in my polishing process. I don't want to scratch my car when I'm doing a maintenance clay. So just take that into consideration. But I'm not saying it's like Bible, like where it's like, you can't use this for clay. Do whatever you want. Me personally, in the 10 years of experience I have doing this and learning from Adam and learning from Dylan and learning from Jason Rose and learning from all these different people along the way, I'm just essentially taking the knowledge they gave me and I'm just passing it on to you. So, okay, I want you to see. These look kind of similar, huh? Waterless wash is a diluted version of hoseless wash. Okay, this is like a 10 or 15x concentrated version of waterless wash. So all I did in this container here was I just made waterless wash with this. So the reason why I was saying if you come out here to perform a hoseless wash, you don't need to break this out, right? Because you can create it with an empty bottle. And now that you have this empty bottle, I mean, realistically, I can just go through and I can do the same thing. It's like not really all that different. It's just now I have diluted hoseless, which is just waterless wash. So I could go around if you want to try to save a little bit of money or have a concentrate, hoseless wash can be diluted into waterless wash. Okay. Now the reason why, so I'm gonna put waterless wash over here as if we don't have it today. Okay. So essentially what I did is I created waterless wash by diluting the hoseless wash, using the water out of the bucket I filled with water that I'm going to use for the hoseless wash process. So what I want to show you guys is also I like to get everything prepped before I start the process. So I made my waterless wash, my diluted hoseless. Now in this container, this is the foam. I have water that's about to right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is unscrew this. Okay, and I'm going to take my foam and wash, and again, shoot me, but I'm not a big measure guy. So I'll do like 1, 2, 3 squeezes. Okay, I could have done another one, but just do 3 squeezes like that. So I used about, I don't know, what would you call that, Chris? This is 16 ounce. I used probably 6 ounces or 5 ounces maybe. Then we'll put the top back on. Okay, and then we'll shake it. And then we'll take this, pump it 25 times.
Why does the
5 more.
Why does the hoseless wash kit not come with the purple waffle weave towels if the product is the same as waterless wash?
Because you don't use it the same, and I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm going to put these waffle weave towels over here. So somebody asked, why doesn't the hoseless wash kit come with purple waffle weave towels if it's just diluted, if waterless wash is just diluted hoseless? The whole process is completely different, and I'm about to show you that right now. And you don't actually do any waterless washing during this process whatsoever. And when I say waterless washing, that's like spray a product on and wipe it off. Okay, we're not doing that at all. Okay, so I'll get to that here in a second. I'll make sure to explain that. Okay, so now I have diluted waterless or diluted hoseless, which is waterless. I have my mixture of foam and wash plus water in a foaming pump sprayer by IK Foam Pro 2, and I have Hoseless wash here. Now, remember, I use Hoseless wash to create the dilution of Waterless in that trigger sprayer, and then you can see I have the waters in there. It's probably about still maybe like 4 gallons, just like right at the top of the logo is where I like the water to be. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to use a few ounces. Oh, this car's, so here's the thing. If your car is really filthy like this, I would use a little extra of this. If your car's not, if your car's more like this kind of dirty, like right here where we use just standard Waterless, either use standard Waterless or you don't need to use as much of this product, okay? This product is a very high lubricating agent, so I like to pour a little bit. That's probably way more than enough, okay? Again, shoot me, I accidentally used a little bit more, but I don't care if I use a little more because all this is going to do is just benefit my lubrication. And actually, like, so put that in there, pour. So I've used this much of Hoseless wash. I've used about 6 ounces, which is half of, or no, 8 ounces was half of this bottle. But that 8 ounces got me about 30 ounces of Waterless wash, and it got me the solution that's in this bucket. And the great thing about this is, even though I used 8 ounces, I'm not going to dump this bucket out when I'm done. And you'll see that here in a second. Okay, so once I get this in here, I'm going to mix this up with my hand. Just like to stick it all the way in there and just kind of get it mixed up. And my hand feels like crazy, like rubbery, slippery. And that's what I want. That's the lubricating agents of the Hoseless in here. Okay, then I'm going to take, I recommend 6 towels. I just have 4 here I have 3 here right now because I'm just worried about one side of the car. I'm taking double soft towels. The reason why I'm going to use double soft towels is because, first off, they're white in color, and that is a huge benefit to me. They're also double ply, so they hold more of the solution of this water, okay? So I take these and I just go straight, I submerge them into my Hoseless wash solution. I want them as mixed up and as saturated as possible. So I'll even like mix it up and kind of squeeze them together like this. Okay. And then I also have 4 borderless gray. The reason why I have more, generally I just probably have 2. I'll be honest. When I do this process, I don't have any borderless gray. I have generally do like 7 or 8, I don't know, 6 or 7 double soft towels. The reason why is the majority of those towels I'm using to get the dirt off, and then I always keep 1 or 2 extra towels to even everything out and wipe it down. Okay, so you'll see that here in a second. But for right now, I have 4 borderless because I'm going to show you how foam and wash works as itself, not together with this. Okay, so essentially what I've done, I have 2 processes here, 2 kind of different processes. I have your foam and wash. Okay, in your foam and wash, if you buy the foam and wash kit, it comes with foam and wash 16 ounce, an IK Foam Pro 2, and then it has like 12 or something crazy amount of borderless gray towels. Okay, just understand that. Now, my Hoseless wash, I have my 4 gallons of water mixed with roughly 5 to 6 ounces of, about 4 ounces maybe of the Hoseless wash solution, and then I have diluted Hoseless, which is waterless, and then I have just my bottle, which I don't really need anymore. So I'm going to show you the foam and wash process first, and then I'll show you the Hoseless wash process second, and I'll show you my highly suggested process, which is using them together. And you'll see why, as I use this, why I like to use it together. And what I want you to be thinking about while I do this is how it can mimic the actual washing process when you use a pressure washer and a foam cannon. Okay, so keep that in mind as I go through this. So foam and wash first. Take your solution and you're going to take 1 borderless gray towel, and I'll do this back on this section. So I pumped this already. Okay, you take this and you're going to foam the car down. I like to just do like little panels at a time, because what happens is the pressure of the foaming sprayer dies out like that. Okay, if I try to do too much, then I can't get enough foam on the whole car. I'll just make sure. You want to make sure it's like covering the surface completely, like so. Okay, so you foam it down like that. All right, then you take your borderless gray towel, and we're essentially doing the same thing we did as waterless wash. Wipe and roll. Okay, so wipe, and the lubricity from this allows my towel to glide. Okay, wipe and roll. Oh yeah, that's very slick. Wipe and roll. Okay, wipe and roll. Now, when I get to this point, and I'll tell you, this is my biggest gripe with this product is the foam. It gets so messy. Okay, flip it over. Wipe and roll. Wipe and roll. Wipe and roll. And one kind of final wipe. Okay. So the cool thing about this is the foam dissipates in all these areas. Okay. And you can see like there's a little bit of dirt and grime. It's hard to see on here, but just a little bit of dirt and grime on here. But the foam sort of creates this barrier as it pulls the dirt and grime off. So it makes your towel very easy to glide on the surface. And again, the more lubrication you have, the less scratching you're doing. Okay, so foam and wash is a very unique process here, but my thing with it is there's just so much foam everywhere. It's like the one thing that I do like this process, but it like gets all over me, and then I feel sticky, and you can see like as this dries, you definitely have to go over the surface with something else. So if you want, you can take, a waterless wash. You can even take detail spray. You know what? Even better than that, slick and slide. Okay, just so you guys can see how multi-dimensional this is. Now we can just take some slick and slide. Less is more with slick and slide. And take a fresh borderless gray, and you can wipe off these panels that you just foam and washed. You can hear the foam crackling. Okay. And you can see that looks great to me. I don't know how it looks on camera from that to that. It's like significantly cleaner and fairly shiny. I'll be honest, Nicole has never polished her car, so very much needs a polish on it. But even if this car was perfectly polished and looked amazing, that there'd be virtually no scratching to it. Okay, because the power of the foam is really like the lubricity aspect of what I'm trying to use there. So does anybody have any questions on foam and wash?
Not as of right now.
Perfect. Now I'll show you hoseless wash right here. Okay, so hoseless wash is, remember, you have the solution in your bucket, you have the double soft towels, and you have the diluted waterless. So what I like to do first, and I tend to do this on the whole car before I actually start using the towels in the bucket, but I will get my spray to a nice sort of stream, and I will pre-treat the dirtiest areas. Okay, that's why I created the waterless wash solution diluted from Hoseless. I'm not all that worried of up top here, just mainly the areas that are the most soiled. If that makes sense. Like so, all right? Now, pre-treated like that. Now, I would just go do that on the whole car. It's kind of like what we were discussing earlier with Marco and Nathan of the bug remover, right? Like, I'm pre-treating this because there's an element of waterless wash that's pulling the dirt and grime like away from the surface, and it sort of encapsulates. That's what like a surfactant does. Surfactants essentially, surfactant is just a fancy word for soap, okay? And there's so many different kinds of surfactants. And the cool thing about a lot of this chemistry is Chris Gauhar, our chemist, is like sort of mixing and matching all these different surfactants to make these formulas, and he can mix and match some of these surfactants to like do certain things. Does that make sense? So like graphene shampoo is like its own unique mixture of surfactants to create that soap, so it can cut through more road oils versus like dirt, right? The surfactant structure of Hoseless wash is more to pull things away and emulsify, right? So you can like wipe easier and it doesn't cause scratching. So there you go, pre-treated. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, so if I take this double soft towel out of this bucket, you can see how much it's dripping. So what I like to do is take this, I like to just barely wring out the towel to the point of where if I hold it, it's barely dripping. So I want as much solution in my towel as possible without wasting all the water all over the ground. Does that make sense? So now, just like we were doing with waterless wash, I'm gonna take my double soft towel and I'm going to fold this twice. So I have roughly 8 panels, 4 on each side, okay? And this thing is like real heavy because the double soft towels just hold so much. Chris, feel that. Put your hand out and just feel how heavy that is.
Yeah.
So heavy. Okay, now, wipe and roll. It's like the theme of today's video. It's like when you waterless wash, when you're getting dirt off of the surface, you wipe and you roll. So I'll start from the top. And the cool thing is like as I wipe and roll this, I'm barely pushing. But you can see how much of that Hoseless wash and water solution goes onto the surface. So as I start from the top, as it goes down, it's only putting the solution in the next areas that I'm gonna wipe. Okay, so the thing I love about the double soft towels is you can instantly see how much dirt's coming off. You see that? Whereas if this was in the borderless gray, I'd have no idea. Not until it's like legitimately like really soiled. So I like to do this. I'm just, every time I wipe, I look at it. Okay, this isn't quite to the point where I need to flip it. Wipe and roll. Like to get into these areas as well. Wipe and roll. Okay, still not overly soiled. Wipe and roll. Not bad. Wipe and roll. Still okay. I'm just gonna kind of move to this portion of the towel. Wipe that off. And now that's so overly soiled. Okay, so now I flip this over and I'm gonna get this bottom section, which is probably gonna waste my towel pretty quick, but because we pre-treated it, so look at how nasty that is. Okay, so I'm gonna move my hand so I can use this corner here. You want to use as much of the surface of the towel as possible. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so now look, check this out. Okay, now you can really see the panels of these towels. Okay, so we got one half of this towel is absolutely wasted. Okay, but the whole other side of this towel has not been used at all. So if I did one door with half of one side of the towel, that means I could do this door with the other half. I could essentially do one, like a fender, a door, and a fender with one side of the, or with one towel, right? That means that that's one towel I used. I can use one towel for the other side. I can use one towel for the back. I could use one towel for the front, and then maybe use one of the same towels for the hood, or for the roof, I'm sorry, not the hood. And you essentially have like a clean car, okay? So what I would do normally is I would just keep going, right? So I would just like, then I would move to the next door, and then I move to the front, and then I move to the other thing. But once you get done with this process, you can see the streakiness of the Hoseless wash, okay? In that case, again, same thing we just did with the foam and wash, is you would take, I'll use, okay, here you go. I would take Holiday Detail Spray, like that, and all we're gonna do is just even this out, because I know that all the dirt and grime came off of this. So now it's just a couple sprays, long, fast swipes with our plush towel, like so, and you can see instantly the Hoseless wash streakiness goes away because it's designed that way. It's just lubrication. So, Hoseless wash, that's your process for Hoseless wash alone by itself. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions on that? Boy, I like Detail Spray a lot better as my finishing. You can kind of see it right in here, but the slick and slide in the direct sun just does not it's a little funky, I guess I could say to that. Okay, so you got foam and wash in the back. Got Hoseless wash by itself here. And Chris, feel what I want you to do, Chris, is feel this. Now feel this. This is way slicker.
Definitely.
It's like Hoseless wash is just providing more lubrication whatsoever across the board. So that's personally why I tend to lean towards the Hoseless wash process than I do with the foam and wash process on a standalone. But I think foam and wash takes up a little bit less of a footprint. Like you don't need a bucket, things like that. Now I'm going to show you my favorite portion of the process, and that's just a mixture of both. So you take, okay, you got your, now this is like insane. This is when you have everything, right? So you have your IK Foam Pro 2. Make sure this is ready to go. Now I said this earlier, kind of think about this in mimicking the washing process that we talk about all the time, 2-bucket wash. So if you think about your 2-bucket wash system with the pressure washer, you blast the stuff off first. You take your pressure washer and you go and you rinse the whole car. So essentially what I'm going to do is similar, but I'm just going to pre-treat again with our diluted Hoseless, which makes waterless. So the most soiled areas, I'm going to fully spray this on. And if anything, like you can see the buildup of dirt here, I can take this closer and I can actually get the excess dirt off. Okay, so if you need to do that really quick, but really I'm just trying to pre-treat as much of this where it's the most soiled. Now remember, we have the solution in the bucket. I've only used about this much of this, but if I end up running out, just unscrew this, put it in here, add a little more Hoseless, go, and then keep going, right? So you always have access to creating this waterless wash all the time when you have Hoseless. If that makes sense. Okay, so pre-treated. Now what do you do when you wash your car with a 2-bucket wash? You break out your foam cannon and you foam your whole car down. Well, guess what? I got that. Okay, so now I'm going to foam my car just like I use Mega Foam while I'm washing my car. Okay, and I'm just essentially kind of doubling up the lubricating agents by, well, I'm tripling it by pre-treating with waterless wash, going over the top of that with foam and wash to get the foam part of it. I think the other thing that you can see is cool is like right here, with treating with waterless wash and then putting the foam wash on there, you can just see the excess dirt like coming off and hitting the ground. It's like very obvious, and it's pulling it from here. Okay, like see all this dirt. It's like ideal. Okay, so again, it's pulling dirt away from the surface. Now, again, I have, well, just for our sake, you take your double soft towel that's submerged into your Hoseless wash, set it into your hand like so, and then you just squeeze it to the point of not dripping anymore. Fold it once, fold it twice. Chris, feel this towel. It's like so slick and smooth. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Like changes the way it feels. Okay, now start from the top. Wipe and roll. I would say your wipe and roll process now is like not as crazy because you have so much lubrication happening, but still just good practice. And you can see, I just wiped the top portion of this car, like the window, the A-pillar, and up top here. And like, look how there's like barely any dirt whatsoever. It's because the foam is pulling it down and gravity's pulling it down off the car.
Is there a brush you could use on cracks and seams?
There is a brush you could use on cracks and seams. I tend to not recommend it because all you have to do is open the car and wipe them, you know? So don't overthink it too much. I
think they were talking about like these two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can, but I'd say like you probably use the interior brush would be ideal. It's the softest brush that we sell. You could use that. But I would say like most of the time the foam and wash mixed with the waterless wash is pulling it out of that stuff, you know? So If you feel the need, use an interior brush.
Why don't you use a 2-bucket method with hoseless wash instead of just the 1 bucket?
The reason why we don't use a 2-bucket wash during the hoseless wash process is because I'm not reintroducing soiled portions of my towel back to the surface. The reason why you use a 2-bucket wash is when you're washing with your wash pad, you only have 2 sides of that wash pad. I have 8 sides to this towel. So when you use your wash pad, now it has dirt all in your wash pad. Do you want to like touch your car again with all that dirt? No, you go to the clean bucket, rub it against the grit guard. Okay, both sides, put it in the soapy bucket, rub it against the grit guard because you're trying to get all this dirt off of the wash pad. Then you go back to the surface. With this, I'm just managing, I'm looking at how much dirt's coming into my towel. And once it gets too dirty, I'm not going to go back into the bucket to get this dirt off. I just flip this over. Okay?
And then when you're done, the towel's...
Yeah, then when I'm done, like once this towel is soiled and all screwed up, not screwed up, I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. But once it's soiled and you can't use it and put it back onto the car, then you just set it aside and then you wash it in your washing machine. Okay? And that's why I'll put 4 towels inside the bucket to do the whole car versus 2 wash pads to like wash the car. So your hoseless wash process is to be effective at washing, being able to wash without needing a hose or pressure washer, but also reducing the amount of water you use. That's like why hoseless wash, rinseless washes were even designed. Okay? I'll just tell you this, the OG guy that developed this, his name was Gary Dean. If you look up the Gary Dean wash method, he's the guy that created this. Okay, I'm sure there's other people that could be credited to it, but that guy, give credit where credit's due. Gary Dean is the guy that sort of like created, like actually like, I don't know, formalized the process. And then a lot of companies, like you have like P&S, like they have, or like O&R rinseless wash. O&R rinseless is the same thing. It's the same process, okay? And O&R, same thing. You can dilute it to make it into a waterless washing type of product. But almost ourselves and most every one of our competitors, for the most part, has a version of this, okay? And the other thing with foam and wash, that was based off of MONYC, Larry Casilla. He created something called Frothy, which is like a really cool, unique product. And we essentially took what's really great about Frothy and we just kind of like built on it a little bit by changing our formula. And then like working with IK to have a good delivery method. But, you know, I got to give credit where credit's due. And I think, here's the thing. It's like anything in life. Unless you're like inventing something from the ground up, you're always taking inspiration from other places. We're no different. We want to take what's great about our industry and the products that are offered, and we want to present you guys the best version of that, right? And that's like what hoseless wash, waterless wash, and foam and wash is, right? So now I want you to notice on this, this towel, I think this door was more dirty than the back door. And if you look, this is the towel I used on the bottom portion of the car. And you can see how much dirt and grime are in there. Look at this one. I use it on the same exact portion of the car and there's less dirt in it. Okay? There's only one reason for that. That's because we pre-treated it with waterless wash, but the foam and wash with the pre-treated waterless pulled all of it and it's all down here now. You can see it can you see it in that foam, Chris? Like see all this dirt right here? This is all brown water. This is all brown foam. The foam and wash mixed with the waterless wash pre-treated with foam and wash on top just pulls so much more off. And this is exactly why I like doing the process with mixing foam and wash and hoseless wash. It's just the most effective, and you're going to not move as much dirt around the whole car, which essentially means you're not going to scratch as much. Okay, so then once you're done with that, again, check this out. This is how I like to do it. I'll take the waterless wash mixture I created. I'll just give it a few sprays on the surface like that. Take the borderless gray towel I was using and then wipe this off. Like so. And even though her windows on the inside are like the dirtiest thing ever,
Would Megafoam work in place of foam and wash?
it would. It kind of would. I think maybe a little bit in this process it would. The problem with Megafoam is like the foam doesn't dissipate the way foam and wash does. You know, foam and wash is designed to like, it's kind of called like a crash foam is like the way Chris would say it. There's different styles of foam. You know, like there's foam that's intended to be a more wet type of foam, which means like here's the thing. Here's something to just a quick little like discussion on that is when foam has a lot of hydration to it. I don't know if that's the right word, but like it's more of like a wet foam. Or let me just say it like this. When soap bubbles or foam bubbles dry out, that's when they pop. Okay, so if they stay hydrated, they just kind of stay there. It's like, I don't know if when you're a kid or even now if you do this, but like when you're washing your hands with soap and it gets so sudsy and then you can like do this thing and then like blow a bubble out of it. Once it like starts to dry, it just pops, it's right? Or gets like really thin. The more wet the foam is, which is like mega foam, it doesn't do this. It doesn't go away. Okay. Whereas this is more of a dry foam. So like if I spray it on the surface, like the foam tends to go away a little bit faster. So during this process to reduce your mess and not have it be like so crazy, mega foam, I would say I don't recommend. Save mega foam for when you're washing your car. You can see how fast the foam in the kind of thin parts like goes. I mean, it's all going away pretty fast.
Because Megafoam is designed to be rinsed off.
Yeah, mega foam, but like mega foam's designed to be like with foam and wash, you work panel by panel, right? When you use mega foam, you don't foam this panel and then wash it. Like you foam the whole car and you want the foam to stay like that while you're washing the whole car, right? Foam and wash is not designed. It's designed to just do this portion. And the reason why foam and wash is designed to dissipate and go away is because you can see inside these cracks where the foam and wash was, it's not there anymore because the bubbles pop and it goes away.
Megafoam would still be there.
Mega foam would for sure still be in there, you know? So they're definitely different in kind of their own way. But yeah, I would say like if this is something that you're interested in, don't like hold back and try to use like by being cost effective, use like a different foaming agent like mega foam or ultra foam or even regular car shampoo because they're just not going to work the same. There you go. One half of the car is nice and clean. I probably have to do the other half, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to show them, Chris, the other side would be your before and this side would be your after. But again, I think this is like a good thing to show you guys from, there's kind of 3 different ways. There's like 4 different ways to do this. And each one of those ways kind of is determined on how dirty your car is. So if your car is not, like there's visible dirt on there, but it doesn't look super, super soiled and heavy on the side, then you can just waterless wash the car. Again, like probably a little bit better for road trips, or like if you have cars that sit in a garage a lot, waterless wash is like a great product for that, you know, because you can wipe the dirt off the cars without scratching or wipe the dust off the car without scratching. Now, you have, okay, so we did waterless wash like on the hood here. Then you have foam and wash here. Okay, that's just you utilizing a ton of towels, a foaming sprayer, and then the foam and wash foaming agent that does a really good job. Like I think it does, but again, for me, it's like messy. The foam gets everywhere. I don't like that feeling. Oftentimes when you're doing this, you're moving fast. It gets all over your clothes. It's not a clean process, okay? Then you have hoseless wash. I personally like hoseless wash because it's essentially an update to rinseless wash, so it's not all that unfamiliar when it comes to doing that process. And I actually do the hoseless wash throughout the winter, and I'll even do a mixture of, I'll take my car to the pay and spray, like where you swipe your credit card and then you have access to a pressure washer. I will clean my wheels at the pay and spray, and I'll rinse the whole car off. Then I'll drive it home, park it in my garage, and do hoseless wash. So using the power of the pressure washer at the paint spray gets excess during grime off. It allows you to clean your wheels and your engine bay, and then you can just finish it off by hoseless washing the whole rest of your car. Then, if you're really trying to do this whole thing, I like to mix them. So hoseless wash and foam and wash and the waterless washing process or waterless wash as a pre-treatment all together. And I think for me, that is the most effective, but also it pulls the most dirt off of the car, gets it onto the ground before you start wiping with the towel. So, yeah, I hope, again, I don't know who requested this, but I hope this was helpful. And I hope everybody watching, you just get a little bit better of an understanding of how each one of these processes works individually, but then how you can mix them to be the most effective.
Will there be a live next week?
Will there be a live next week? I'm going to say no. So Chris and I are taking next week off. I'm going to try to teach my kids how to ski. But if there's an emergency and I need to be back down here and the emergency isn't personal and it's they need me to be in here, then I'll do a live. But you'll know probably a Wednesday next week if we're doing the live. I'll make a post that says it's postponed or it's not. So just stay connected on Instagram, because that's where we post those, hey, we're going live. Look at that. See? You know why Joey's so happy is because the 49ers are winning. But yeah, just stay up to date. Usually on Instagram is where we post what the topic is we're going live, or if we're going live, or if we're not going live. Trying to think of anything else. I mean,
Ricky says we need a live on a winter wash out of pay and spray.
Oh my gosh, I'm for sure doing that. So
we also had a suggestion earlier for total interior cleaner as a topic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can also do total interior cleaner versus total interior detailer. That's a question we get a lot. So I can kind of explain those in a live. I like that topic. But the winter washing and a paint spray, I think also a really great topic. And we've been actually working pretty closely with a car wash organization here called Auto Wash. So if you're local to Colorado, I'm sure you know what Auto Wash is, but they are a drive-through car wash, but they're all touchless. And then connected with that, they have self-serve car washes as well, and even beyond that, dog washes. So really great facilities, and actually a former Adams Polishes employee now works for them. So he's been he's so fired up about it. He's I want to try to bridge the gap between taking your car through the drive-through car wash or self-serve car wash, and then things you can do at home and how they all work together. So to be honest, we've been creating some pre-production planning type of paperwork to really present it in a way that's digestible for you guys. So that is a hot topic right now, and that's something we're going to be working on. So maybe not next week, but the week after we can talk about that. And then here in the next few weeks, we'll do an interior detailer versus in total interior cleaner. It's pretty simple to understand the difference, but I think when you see them work individually or see how they work together, again, it's you're using all these tools, think about them separately, but realistically, when you start mixing and matching them together, that's what makes them super effective and awesome. So
Anton says we need a live on location here in the Philippines.
Well, Anton, I mean, I'm down. I would love to go hang out there. If anything, I'd go there to learn more from you. But
vacation.
Yeah, but I just will say this. I hope everyone has happy holidays. It's that time of year to be around family and friends, and if there's any time to blow off work, I'm not telling you to not go to work, but this is the time to do it. So I know I've been pretty lackadaisical and trying to stay motivated, but once the first year hits, hit the ground running and let's go hard. So take your mental breaks, take your physical breaks. Go skiing if you're in an area where you can go skiing. I know I'm going to keep going golfing at my indoor facilities. Shout out Optimum Golf Denver. There's one in Thornton, which my buddy Jake works at. So get up there, and I love it because you can play any course in the world. So I've been playing TPC Sawgrass. Shout out to what is it, Ponte Verde? Is that right? Ponte Vedra. And shout out to Pebble Beach because I play those when I'm in the indoor place a lot. So thank you guys for watching. I might see you next week, probably not, but if anything, I'll go live from the slopes. How's that? No, I'm not going to do that. But again, more suggestions. You can always go back. And here's the other thing. Subscribe to our channel. Anytime you subscribe, it keeps you updated. It always keeps us at the top of your feed, so you know when we're live. You know when we've posted a video. Also, you can go back and watch this video. We have a tab on the homepage of our YouTube. That's, I think, 3 tabs over. It says live. It shows every live we've ever done. So if you do have these products and you do want to try a hoseless wash process, go back and watch this and just apply what I did here and do it to the whole car. So we want to be a resource for you guys to learn and just get better at detailing, because we're always trying to improve our products, but also improve our processes. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next live.